Hey out there, it's Kate, and I wanted to give another animation tip that I've learned along the way. It's about doing what works for you. Now, I know in this day and age, most animators and artists work from tablets and iPads. Everything today almost everything today has been replaced by the digital. But I've actually talked to a lot of people who still feel comfortable with paper and pencil. And so there's nothing wrong with the technology we have today. There's nothing wrong with using things that are digital, but at the same time, don't feel ashamed to use good old-fashioned paper and pencil because I truly believe that each artist and animator has the right to express themselves with the tools that are comfortable with them. And don't let anybody look down on you for just using very simple, basic tools. You know, I'm usually comfortable just using a mechanical pencil. And with animation, I work on 7-inch scratch pads. The reason I do this is because if I used actual sized animation paper, my room would be an absolute mess. So it's just more convenient and easy to use scratch pads for me personally. And I can take them anywhere. I can animate when I'm on my bed. I can animate if I'm traveling or if I have to be someplace else. So, so some people are comfortable with tablets, others are comfortable with good old-fashioned paper. So that's my tip today. Don't feel bad of just using basic tools. Too much of what goes on in animation today makes us feel like animation has to be insanely complicated. One example is this Disney short called Paper Man. And it's a great short. It's an amazing little movie that was done on the computer, and I'm pretty sure a lot of the 2D hair effects were drawn digitally. And there's nothing wrong with that. But when I looked at the behind the scenes process, it's just amazing and insane how complicated it was. And so I really think that can be very intimidating for children who are aspiring to be artists, and they can somehow feel inadequate when they're seeing all this complex technology, that because they don't have all of this technology that they're not equipped to be great artists or animators. And I'm here to tell you that you should not feel that way. And again, I'm not against technology, but at the same time, I don't believe that we should be against the basics. Because the thing is, your audience is not going to care how complex it was to make your animation. They're going to respond to your story and your character, and as a friend once told me, your emotional pull. So it is your choice whether you want to make your special effects as elaborate as you want or as simple as you want. But what your audience is going to walk away with is your story, your character, and your emotional pull. So that's again that we think today that because we have all this elaborate technology that we have to constantly make things more complicated. But that's not necessarily the case. As I said in a previous video, there were a lot of Disney movies that were elaborate, but they they did not always end up becoming huge hits or classics. Now, something like Fantasia was elaborate, and at first it was not a huge hit, but it gained popularity over the years. Unlike The Black Cauldron, um, the story was very convoluted, and the animation was very complex and kind of overwhelming at times. And you didn't really have um, rich characters. So um, so the thing is, with Fantasia, there was still a sense of good storytelling. It was just very, very elaborate. But then when you had Dumbo, it was simple but had good story. Um, so even though a lot of the tools they used for Dumbo were not extremely elaborate, it is still one of the most remembered Disney films. So again, I would say to animators, don't feel intimidated by a lot of the elaborate technology that's out there. You have the opportunity to show the world what you can do, even with the simplest tools that you have. Just like what I've shown, I've been animating on scratch pads uh, for years. I've been animating since I was 17, and so it still works for me. So just use the tools that you're comfortable with and not what you feel the culture is forcing you to use. So that's my tip for today. And um, and again, remember, enjoy the tools that you are comfortable with. Do what fits you. So happy animating, and best wishes on using your tools.